Just actually thinking now of an experiment that we could do in the Ukraine. Maybe we can test 100 or two people, refugees from Ukraine and Poland or elsewhere, with one MDMA session, and then track a control group of the same amount of money over the next couple of years and see if the group that got the one MDMA session doesn't have as many people progress into PTSD. In order to make MDMA into a medicine, we work with chronic PTSD, which means PTSD for 6 months or longer. Because there's a natural resilience. A lot of people will get better, and so you'd need large numbers of subjects if you really wanted to try to give it to people right after a trauma. But in places like Ukraine or elsewhere, one of the studies that I've realized would be really good to do was maybe we could give, let's say, 400 Ukrainian refugees at some sort of stable refugee center or something. And if we can somehow or other give each of them, or half of them an MDMA experience, one MDMA experience with support, the other half get whatever is available, but not MDMA. And then we look out as of a year or 2 years or so, did a smaller percentage of the people that got one MDMA session develop into full-fledged chronic PTSD than those that got something else. The idea I'm talking about here is MDMA as a prophylactic for shortly after the trauma, to try to make it so people can at least process it there. Maybe that doesn't harden into chronic PTSD. Group therapy would be the way to go. Mm-hmm. But that we have to find other healers, other, we could say, facilitators, or who's going to lead these sessions, or who's going to manage them. There are not enough psychiatrists or psychotherapists. So, similarly in Rwanda or in Somaliland or South Africa, we don't have enough psychotherapists in the United States. There need to be other people trained to do this treatment delivery than just limiting it to therapists or psychiatrists. But sort of training local people, even the challenge of doing it in different languages. How do we supervise them? How do we, have the videotapes? Do we even get things videotaped? How do we really do the supervision? How do we get the local people who are going to be helping others to have their own MDMA experiences so that they know what it is before they give it to others? It is going to be a challenge. How do you keep track of these refugees when they're driven from their homes and who knows where they're going to go? But you want to track them, for years to come. But when you've got a situation right now where there's 4 million refugees and there's an enormous amount of trauma, maybe it is okay to have it where, on balance, most of the people are getting better, but there are some people that don't get the support that they need, and it, doesn't really help them. But doing one session in a refugee camp or something like that for a bunch of people could be a really good way to move forward. It would still be research. The humanitarian projects are all non-monetizable. They'll cost more than it brings in, but they're a crucial part of what we're doing. So we're trying to move forward with those. When we talk about Rwanda or South Africa, there's not psychiatrists, there's not psychotherapists. We're going to have to find new models, and these models are going to be riskier, and these people are going to be more traumatized. The whole culture is going to be traumatized. So is there going to be blowback if we do work in these humanitarian ways with countries that don't have the kind of support systems that we have with local healers, and things go wrong? Will that have implications for the FDA? My sense of it is it's a risk that we must take.